Hello, everybody. Okay, is it okay? Am I fangirling? Is that what this is called? Like that I am finally sitting here with Ron Robinson. I have known you for actually a long time, obviously being in the space. Yeah. And it's so funny because you and I have spoken and we try to get together. And so as I wrote to you in advance, we are way overdue for a cocktail.
Absolutely.
We are way overdue for actually to break bread and have a meal, but this does not count.
Exactly. IRL will happen.
I cannot wait to dive in because you are someone who's so interesting for me in the space, coming from a background in you're a cosmetic chemist. I mean, You didn't start off as a brand. You started off building other people's brands. So you got your start at Clinique as a cosmetic chemist product developer. Then you went on to become a product developer for the likes of Avon, L'Oreal. I mean, you've had just this incredible, incredible career. Were you always like fascinated in the beauty space, or were you like, oh, I'm going to go into chemical, engineering, and somehow you wound up in beauty? How did you get to beauty?
It's really interesting, Indy. I grew up in a family where being a doctor or a lawyer was the most respected profession. My parents came here from the Caribbean, and they always, at that time, again, doctor, lawyer, that was the thing.
Same thing.
And so I grew up in a family like that. So I studied sciences thinking I would go to pre-med. So I studied pre-med biology and chemistry. I didn't know what I wanted to do after I went to college. So I
Who
said,
does?
Okay. Yeah, exactly. So I said, let me try med school because that's what my parents wanted me to do, become a doctor. I got into med school. I hated it. It was not for me. I did not want that life. I didn't want that type of responsibility. So I dropped out, moved back in with my parents. They were really disappointed.
I was going to say, they were, I'm sure, thrilled.
Yeah, they were not happy. So here's the deadbeat son who's back in, drops out of med school. I started to send out resumes, given I had a chemistry biology degree, and Estee Lauder's Clinique division called me in for an interview. So I drive up. This is on Long Island. Drive up.
Oh my God, you're a fellow Long Islander? How did we not talk about that?
I grew up in Baldwin, Long Island. So I drove out to the Melville labs, where the Estee Lauder company's labs are based. Had a fantastic interview. They loved my background. They loved. I had no idea this whole world of science behind cosmetics existed. I thought, okay, if I'm a chemist, I'm doing something in, more pharma, more medical field. I had no idea that they're actually mixing ingredients and chemicals together to make cosmetics and skincare products. I was blown away. I was like, oh my God, this is so exciting. I could create stuff. I could use my science degree to help create cosmetics. I fell in love at first sight. They hired me on the spot, and that's how I fell into the industry.
Wow. I had no idea. I mean, it's so funny because you read about you and what you're doing now and, obviously knowing, that you started off, but I had no idea that was originally medicine and that it wasn't what you wanted. And that's how you got into it. And you just like, this is it. This is where you want to be. And you had the most remarkable career as a result.
And let me tell you a little bit more of that story. So again, I had a disappointed mom specifically that I dropped out. I crushed. She was crushed because one of her sons didn't become a doctor. By the way, my other two brothers did become doctors. So I'm the deadbeat that didn't.
I think she's proud now.
This is what happened. So I start working there and I start developing products and bringing home samples of the skincare that I was developing at Clinique. Total change of tune. Oh my God, what? You have beauty product samples? Totally forgot that I dropped out of med school. I want more. What else can you get? Can you go to the company's sale and get me some perfume and makeup?
You became the prodigal son. Yeah. You were the favorite. That is incredible. It's so funny. My parents said the same thing. You have to be a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, a teacher. So I became an accountant, CPA, the whole thing. And then 8 years in, I'm like, I don't like this. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
So it's so interesting. Now, fortunately for my parents just wanted me to be happy. They didn't care.
Right.
But it's so interesting. Like, you don't realize what's out there. And I couldn't have, if someone would have said to me that this is what I would be doing, I would have been like, what are you talking about? Like, it's not possible. So it's so fascinating where the world like kind of moves you.
Yeah, it's fate.
Yeah.
It really is. I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled that I accidentally stumbled upon this industry and it's become my passion and what I love doing.
What, if you could say, what do you think is one of the most memorable moments in terms of your product development history, besides what you're doing now? Because I want to get to that. But is there something where you're like, oh my gosh?
You know what? It's the feedback from friends, family, and customers. That is what the single thing that drives me and motivates me. It started from my mom. It started from the delight that beauty can bring to people. It brings the delight and joy unlike any other category. If I brought in wine or dessert or even jewelry, I don't think I'd get the same reaction as if you gift or give beauty. And I think that's what keeps me. I love that, being part of that experience of feeling that joy, seeing that joy in friends, family, and customers. And that's what drives me.
Same, absolute same. It's those, you get that email, or you now, as obviously a founder of a brand, but when you read and you knew that you were part of this, or someone said, I never felt more comfortable in my skin. I mean, could you find a better compliment? There's nothing like it. I guess it'd be similar to if I was a psychologist and someone said, thank you, I finally feel whole. And I hate to liken it, but let's face it, we do say I had a good hair day, I had a bad hair day, because it really sets the tone on a regular basis that people start to feel comfortable. And when they put that smile and they feel that comfortable, there's a whole different confidence level that they bring to the rest of their day and to others.
Yes.
And you're part of this incredible, intimate ritual for them.
It's spreading joy, and that is nothing. There's nothing better than experiencing that and seeing that.
I agree. Oh my gosh. Now, you worked at Clinique. And by the way, I know Clinique was known for like the cutting edge of formulations. What they were doing way back when was absolutely, they still have an incredible, company. Don't get me wrong. But you really did this. But then you stepped away. And you're still doing other brands and whatnot, but you decided that you wanted to start a blog. So I always believe that everybody's journey starts with a passion or a pain point, and then they know that that's their purpose, right? And sort of how you knew you wanted to go into beauty, you were sitting there at Estee Lauder and you're like, oh my God, my mind is blown. This is what I want to do. Then you started a blog. What was that passion or pain point that you said, I'm going to start to take my time and write?
So this is how this whole thing evolves. So here I am starting at Clinique, developing a lot of big products for them, and then some other brands. And now I feel like I've been developing and like trying to outdo myself and outdo the competitors. And I'm like, and the pressure, you've got to be, that was last year. What are you doing this year to help beat what you did last year? It was a race. And I just felt I was just adding to the confusion out there. And this is before we had, content creators and experts really helping consumers. Consumers were really like what's going on here? Who do I go to? So I said, listen, what if I decide to step away from the big brands and start educating and starting to create a place where consumers can learn about what products and ingredients, what they really do, and how to navigate and shop in a smarter way from an expert like me and my team. And that was the reason why I started the blog. I felt like I was not developing with really intention anymore. It was just really about money and numbers. Yeah, they
got on the hamster wheel.
Yeah, I did. I needed to get off. So that's why I started the blog. And I said, listen, I'm going to start helping the consumer learn.
Because I think that's where I met you, is through that. Is
Correct.
through BeautyStat when it was a blog.
And we covered your brand for many years. Yes.
Absolutely. Because you were giving a place where people, this again, like you said, this was before content creators, and before even people were starting to talk about what's in the goop. It was just, this is the latest and this is the greatest and this is what it was going to do. But people are still a very difficult place to navigate. Even the clean, whether it's clean or conventional, it's still difficult to navigate because there are no rules, regulations per se over what this means and what that means. And it can be a landmine that you just don't know.
Yep.
And so you really have to be your own advocate. And so information was scarce. And now it's an interesting place because you have content creators going out there. And I think there's some of the most fantastic who really do educate themselves. But then you also have content creators who are giving you their advice on TikTok and whatnot, and who have absolutely no qualifications to discuss it.
Exactly. And now, fortunately, we do have content creators that are now derms and estheticians and other experts that are really helping consumers, really learn the real deal, the real facts, if you will.
Yeah, but it's hard. It's certainly hard.
Yeah.
But then, so you had this, and then all of a sudden you decide to pivot again. So why all of a sudden you're like, okay, I have this blog, I'm helping people, I'm developing. Because I know you didn't set out to say I was going to create my own brand, but then all of a sudden you did. I mean, BeautyStat is now an allure-winning brand. How did that come in?
It was never my intention to start a brand. And people would ask, me, Ron, why don't you start a brand? You're a chemist. Why can't you do it?
I remember, I think I had that conversation with you.
You did. And it was like, no, there's too many products out there. I'm better served helping consumers navigate, educating and helping in reviewing products and helping them shop and make better purchase decisions. That was so again, I'm running this blog. I'm talking to I'm helping a lot of beauty editors with their, with quotes and helping them with their content. Hey, Ron, I'm working on a story. Can you give me, what's your take on vitamin C? Why is it unstable? What can consumers do? This happened dozens of times. Dozens of beauty editors and consumers asking me about vitamin C and how they could shop it and what they could do. So here's an instance where its feedback is influencing me in terms of, wait a second, there's not a product out there that's using pure vitamin C that's stable. What if I was able to stabilize pure vitamin C?
So your cosmetic mind went back to your science. You went back to your roots.
I went back to my roots, and based on data, based on people asking and looking for an answer. So I said, okay, I can go back and try to formulate to solve that need. And that's where the full circle came in. Starting developing products for other brands, leaving that and starting to create this blog where I was educating. And now from those learnings, coming back and creating a brand based on solving big skincare needs and problems.
Was it weird to go back in? Did it
Yes.
but did it ignite another fire that you hadn't seen? Because you must have been burnt out when you got off the hamster wheel. And now you're getting back on. Was it exciting again for you?
It is now. It's really exciting because again, it's based on data. It's based on learning it and trying to and understand what the needs are. So, we're a small brand, few SKUs. And basically the intention is to really only launch something it's really going to solve a need. And that means we are listening, we are researching, and only doing what we think is going to be really significant for the consumer.
It's data-driven.
It is. It's data-driven.
I love it. Okay, so without giving the secret sauce, can you share what makes your product so special? Because like we just said, it solves a very specific, I would say, missing ingredient, right? Really out in the marketplace. Can you tell everybody what makes it so special?
I think it's understanding what the needs are and trying to solve a problem and doing so in a way, again, chemist perspective. Okay, what could we use? What could we incorporate that's unique, that's proprietary? Again, patents are important to us. Yes. So if we can find a way to patent and protect what we do, that's another piece of it. And the last piece is our testing protocol and what, criteria for making sure that if we're going to launch something, we have it independently clinically tested.
Right.
That we have that third party independent stamp of approval and validation. And that's That's kind of our things. And so you put those all together, solving a big need, answering that need with unique proprietary or patented ingredients and technology. And then third thing, independent clinical testing to validate those claims.
And yours has, I mean, I think I read 5 patents.
Yes, we are.
I mean, unbelievable what you have gone in. I kind of think of you as like the Harry Potter of vitamin C.
I love that.
Okay. Yeah. So a lot of people come to this podcast who are entrepreneurs, and really, whether it's in beauty or just want to understand, how do I go about this? You know, trying to get advice. It's a huge leap. What is the one piece of advice that kind of has been your North Star going forward?
I go back to data, because I find a lot of entrepreneurs, they have great ideas, but the next step would be to test those ideas to see, okay, is there a market fit? Is there a need? Would people want to buy it? Would they buy it? Those are the things that I think need to be checked off. And I recommend that all entrepreneurs take that on. It's difficult because you may think you have a great idea, and then you canvass, you survey, and it's not that unique. There's not enough there to warrant developing a business around it. So I challenge entrepreneurs to please do that. Get data, get people that are around you that are going to be honest with you and tell you, could be better.
Don't tell me what you think I want to hear. I need the honest truth, because I'm about to go on a journey that is like no other. And only entrepreneurs know this. It is ups and downs, a lot of sleepless nights, lot of 24-hour days to get it done, and a lot of money. And unless you have people who are surrounding you who are being honest, so you can course correct to be successful, they're actually hurting you. They're not they're not being the friend that you need them to be. It's not that they're not, but I also believe that we learn more from some of our mistakes, right? Or missteps. I hate to say failure. Failure, everybody puts a negative. And I think we got to lean into those failures, because that's where the learning is. That's where, if you can realize and not beat yourself over making a mistake, take accountability and move forward, there is this beautiful thing that happens on the other side of it. Obviously, you got to get through it. I know it sucks while it's going through. I'm not saying I haven't had those sleepless nights where I'm like, that's it, it's over.
Yeah.
Is there one time where you can go, okay, I should have done this? Or like, how have you handled those missteps? Because I think entrepreneurs don't realize that we have them. People look and they go, it's a successful brand. Oh, they did this. They never had those. And that's just not the truth. And so I think it's important to share those.
India, I had sleepless nights a couple nights ago. I mean, it's as recent as that. So it's, and last night was a good night. So I got some sleep last night. So it's, and that's the way it is. It's constantly, it's the next challenge. Mm-hmm. And then on a challenging day, I get an email from a customer saying, Ron, your products changed my skin. And then I remember why it's worth it.
It's sort of like, don't allow those times to take you down.
Yeah.
You will get through it.
Yeah. One other quote I have is big picture. That's kind of my mantra, big picture. If something happens and it feels like it's devastating, Ron, big picture, long term, long game.
My husband said something to me the other day, when in doubt, scroll out. And I was like, what? Or zoom out. I'm like, what? And he said, you are looking at the moment. If you pull back and you look at this, you're actually going upwards, but sometimes it feels like you're not. You're not zooming out. You were too in the weeds. Pull back and look at the accomplishments. And I don't think enough entrepreneurs do that.
Yep.
You're not going to be known for it. Like, you'll get through it and you'll be better.
Totally agree.
I love it. Okay. Last question, because I love to make these podcasts short and sweet so people can listen on their commute. If people are commuting these days, I don't really know. I don't know. I feel like I've just been in my house for forever. I watch you. Okay. Semi-stalk you because I think you are a phenomenal person and someone who I feel very lucky that I can call a colleague and someone who I'm really looking forward to developing actually a deeper friendship with.
Yeah.
But I'm exhausted because you're all I mean, you are traveling, you're doing this, you're doing that. And I get it because I know what that's like. How do you recharge? How do you stay present?
Yeah, I'm working on that now. And a couple things I started to do during the pandemic. I learned the power of walking.
You mentioned that to me.
And that's something that I do most days. And definitely when during the summer months and the days were longer, it was nice to just step away from the computer. I would leave my mobile phone at home and I take an hour walk. Yes, no phone, no.
Wow. Okay, I don't know what that's like. Mine's tethered to me.
Yeah, that and it's bold and I love it. And everyone, my team knows it. My team knows that Ron's doing his walk. He's not responding to email or text. And I go walk by the river and I take in nature and I watch people, and that helps me wind down from that crazy day. And that's something I do for myself and to help to recharge myself.
That's amazing. That is probably some of the best piece of advice that I've heard in a long time, because I'll go out and I'll do this, but guess what? I still have my phone in my hand. I'm still scrolling, checking DMs, checking emails, and making myself available, which means I'm not making myself available for myself.
Correct. It's just an hour. Put the phone down. And
nothing's going to happen. You can do it.
Nothing's going to happen. And I love being able to do that. Oh, my phone's gone. Oh, I was out taking Ron, where were you? I was out taking my walk. I was doing something for myself. Is that okay?
Exactly. Like, you want me to be on? You want me to be this? I need that time.
Right.
Listen to him, everybody. We've got to learn how to disconnect.
Yeah,
you know what? I'm terrible at it. I'm getting better at night, but man, I love that. An hour at the end of the day where you can't find me.
Can't find me.
I love that. Off the grid. I wonder how my family would deal with that. It's kind of exciting.
You let them know that, Indy's off for a walk.
Yep.
She's unreachable right now.
Yep. I love that. It kind of makes you even more wanted. I like that. Okay, I'm going to give this a shot and report back, Ron. First of all, I wanted you to share how people can find you and how people can find BeautyStat. But any other news that you'd love to share about what's going on for you, anything new coming down, any new retailers? I love a good plug.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, as you talked about the Allure Best of Beauty Award, we're thrilled about that. I think I'm going to be in this next month's Allure magazine in print.
Wow.
With fact of my background as a cosmetic chemist, so I'm excited about picking up that issue. And we're in a bunch of great retailers. I love being in the same retailers.
I know. It's like, it's so funny. People think it's so interesting that I love interviewing other founders of beauty and skin. They're like, "What are you doing?" I think it's awesome to have these relationships. Just like you said in the beginning, there is plenty of room for all these brands. And wouldn't it be amazing if founders helped lift one another up?
Absolutely. And I think, again, I want to go do some stores visits with you.
Yes, we're going to do this.
We'll plan that as well.
Yes,
and
I want to.
It's just great to be in the same store location as you and the other great brands. So
I know there's great founders out there. And I love the community that we're creating. And I think we're showing it can be done differently and collaboratively. And that's what gets me excited, especially as we start to go into looking how we can change the regenerative, sustainable packaging and really getting together as founders on how we can start to create change and think beyond just sustainable. How can we add more than taking away? So I'm really excited for that. Okay, how can people find you?
Okay, at BeautyStat on all social, and then on Instagram, I'm at Ron Robinson, cosmetic chemist.
Or This Is Ron, if you've ever been on Clubhouse.
This is Ron on Clubhouse, absolutely.
I love it. Ron, thank you so much for spending some time with me this morning. I really, really appreciate it, and I love that we got to do this, and I cannot wait for us to get together very soon.
Likewise, Indy, it was a pleasure. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited about being on your show. Thank you.